There comes a moment when you realize it's not the world treating you differently. It's you presenting yourself differently to the world. Your appearance isn't vanity, it's a language. Before anyone hears what you say, your body has already spoken. Before an opportunity arrives, your posture has already answered whether you're ready for it. And ignoring that isn't humility. It's giving up your own power. I learned this when I realized my life was stuck. Even though I was smart, hardworking, and full of plans, the problem wasn't what I knew. It was how I saw myself, how I dressed, how I walked, how I occupied space. When you don't take care of yourself, the world assumes you don't value yourself and responds accordingly. Getting addicted to your own appearance isn't about being obsessed with looks. It's about identity. It's about aligning who you are on the inside with the image you show on the outside. Because when that happens, something changes immediately. The way you're treated, respected, and perceived. If this message already resonates with you, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick with me, because the next points could change not just your image, but the course of your life. First principle. Your appearance is a direct reflection of the respect you have for yourself. For a long time, we were taught that caring about appearance was superficial, that smart women don't care about that. But the truth is harsh. The world doesn't respond to what you think about yourself. It responds to what you show. Your appearance is the first silent agreement you make with the world about how you expect to be treated. I realized this the day I walked into an important place and felt like I didn't belong. No one kicked me out. No one said anything. But everything about me screamed insecurity. Unintentional outfit, hunched posture, eyes asking for permission. That day, I realized something painful. It wasn't the place that made me small. It was how I showed up in it. When you take care of yourself, you send a clear message. I take myself seriously, and the world responds to that message instantly. People listen more closely. Opportunities come more easily. Respect shows up before you even speak. Not because you got prettier, but because you started showing presence. Women who change their path understand this sooner or later. Appearance doesn't create who you are, but it reveals how you see yourself, and no one hands power to someone who doesn't look ready to carry it. Getting addicted to your own appearance is really about getting addicted to the habit of respecting yourself every day, even when no one's watching. Comment, I take myself seriously. That sentence is the first step to aligning image, identity, and destiny. Second principle. When you change your image, your brain understands your life has entered a new phase. External transformation isn't superficial. It's neurological. Your brain responds to what it sees in the mirror every day. If the reflection shows neglect, exhaustion, and randomness, your mind assumes you're still stuck in the same cycle. But when you intentionally change your appearance, something powerful happens. Your brain registers that a new phase has begun. I noticed this when I decided to change something simple. The way I got ready, even with no special event coming up. I started picking clothes with intention, taking care of my hair, my posture, my skin, not for others, but for me. At first it felt like overkill. Then it became identity. And the most surprising thing was noticing how my mind followed the change. I started making firmer decisions, speaking more clearly, and standing my ground with more confidence. That happens because the brain loves consistency. When you see yourself as organized, elegant, and confident, it starts aligning your actions with that image. Your appearance becomes a psychological trigger that pulls everything else up with it. Behavior, discipline, ambition, and self-esteem. Women who change their path use this to their advantage. They know you can't live a big life with a small image. And it's not about luxury. It's about intention. It's about looking in the mirror and recognizing the woman you're becoming, not the one you left behind. Getting addicted to your own appearance is really about training your brain to accept a higher standard of living. Comment, my image reflects my new phase. That sentence seals the beginning of your inner transformation. Third principle, the way you get ready sets the limit for what you accept. You might not notice it, but every day you silently decide how much you're willing to accept from life. And it starts with how you get dressed. When you leave the house in whatever mode, you're not just picking an outfit, you're picking a standard. A standard of minimal effort, low expectations, and reduced presence. And the world responds exactly to that standard. I realized this in a simple, almost silly moment. It was just a regular day, no big commitments, and I thought, I don't need to get too dressed up. But that day, everything felt off. Shallow conversations. Unexciting opportunities. A strange kind of fatigue. That's when it hit me. When I show up without intention, I also accept less intention from life. The way you care for yourself shows how much you believe you deserve. It's not about expensive clothes or heavy makeup. It's about alignment. It's about coherence between the value you say you have and the value you actually demonstrate. Women who change their destiny understand this deeply. They don't dress to impress. They dress to remind themselves daily of who they are and what they no longer accept. When you get ready with presence, you automatically raise the standard of what you tolerate. Shallow conversations start to bother you. Small spaces feel uncomfortable. People who don't respect you begin to lose access. Not because you changed the world, but because you changed the invisible boundary of what you accept. Getting addicted to your own appearance is really about getting addicted to keeping your standards high, even on ordinary days. There comes a point when you start taking better care of yourself, standing taller, raising your standards, but something still doesn't feel aligned. Outwardly, you're changing. Internally, you're growing. But when it comes to money, there's that quiet squeeze. Insecurity, fear of not having enough, the feeling that no matter how hard you try, you're still not fully in control of your life. And that creates a deep inner conflict. How do you maintain a strong, confident, secure image when you still feel financially vulnerable? Many women live exactly in that space. They become more self-aware, more present, more intentional with their appearance and posture, but they remain stuck in a confusing, heavy, and emotionally draining relationship with money. And that disconnection is exhausting, because there's no point in presenting yourself as a high-level woman if, deep down, you still live in fear of not being able to support yourself, make choices, or say no. That's why the Wealth Code was created, a guide designed to transform your relationship with money in a simple, accessible, and feminine way. It helps you build inner financial security, feel in control of your own life, and live with the lightness of someone who knows she can choose her own path without depending on anyone. Because the truth is, your new appearance demands a new structure. And when your outer image and your financial foundation finally align, everything flows with more peace. If you feel like it's time to fully embody inside and out the woman you're becoming, the link to the Wealth Code is in the first pinned comment. Fourth principle: when you care for your appearance, you take control of your narrative. For a long time, I thought life just happened to me. That opportunity showed up, or didn't, because of external factors. But there was a breaking point when I realized something uncomfortable. I wasn't directing my story, I was just reacting to it. And that was clear in how I showed up every day. Appearance is a silent narrative. It tells a story before you even open your mouth. When you take care of yourself, you choose the story you want the world to read about you. When you neglect yourself, the world writes the story for you, and it rarely writes something flattering. I felt this clearly when I started changing small things, standing taller, wearing clothes that matched who I wanted to become, paying attention to the details I used to ignore. The effect was instant. People started listening to me more. Conversations shifted to a new level. Respect came without me having to ask. Not because I became better, but because I stopped hiding. Women who change their destiny know that appearance isn't a mask. It's positioning. It's saying to the world, this is who I am now. And when you take that control, you stop being a background character in your own life and become the lead. Getting addicted to your own appearance is deep down getting addicted to owning your story. Comment: I direct my narrative. That sentence marks the moment when you stop being a reaction and start being the direction. Fifth principle: discipline with your appearance creates discipline in every area of your life. There's a direct connection between how you care for your appearance and how you handle the rest of your life. When you build the habit of showing up well every day, even on ordinary days, you're training discipline, consistency, and self-respect. And those three things change destinies. I realized this when I understood that it wasn't a lack of ability holding me back. It was a lack of structure. On days when I got ready without intention, everything else followed the same pattern: lateness, improvisation, weak decisions. But on days when I showed up with presence, something shifted inside. I managed my time better, kept my promises, spoke with more confidence. Not because my clothes had magic powers, but because they triggered a mental state of responsibility. Aesthetic discipline creates a domino effect. When you choose to take care of yourself, you start taking better care of your money, your words, your decisions, and your boundaries. It's as if your brain understands. She's taking her life seriously. And when that happens, you stop settling for the bare minimum. Women who change their destiny aren't just motivated, they're disciplined. They don't wait for motivation, they follow standards. And appearance is one of the most powerful standards because it's daily, visible, and non-negotiable. Getting addicted to your own appearance is really about getting addicted to consistency, to doing the basics well every single day until the extraordinary starts to happen naturally. Comment, I create discipline through myself. This phrase reinforces your commitment to the woman who builds, not the one who improvises. Sixth principle, your external image trains your level of courage. There's a quiet kind of courage in taking care of your appearance. Because when you start showing up better, you start being seen more. And being seen is scary. It attracts attention, sparks opinions, invites judgment. Many women hide behind a neutral appearance just to avoid being judged. But that hiding place comes at a high cost. Life passes you by without noticing you. I realized this when I noticed that, for a long time, I used my appearance as a shield. Clothes that were too discreet, a withdrawn posture, an almost invisible presence. I thought I was being humble, but I was really avoiding taking up space. The day I decided to change that, not to seek attention, but to honor who I was becoming, I felt afraid. Afraid of people's looks, afraid of judgment, afraid of not living up to the new image. But something interesting happened. Every time I stepped out of the house well put together, I was training courage. The courage to be seen, the courage to be noticed, the courage to stand in who I am. And that courage started to spill into other areas. I started speaking up more, standing my ground, asking for what I deserved, saying no without guilt. Appearance becomes an emotional training ground. When you hold an image aligned with your strength, you teach your body that it's safe to take up space. And when taking up space becomes safe, your destiny changes. Getting addicted to your own appearance is, at its core, getting addicted to practicing courage every day, until it stops being effort and becomes identity. Comment, I stand in who I am. That sentence affirms your decision to stop hiding. Seventh principle, the world reacts to the image you project, not the potential you hide. There's a huge difference between who you could be and who the world perceives you to be. The problem is, opportunities aren't given based on invisible potential. They go to those who look ready to handle them. And appearance is the first filter in that perception. It took me a while to accept this. For a long time I thought, if I'm good enough, people will notice. But the world doesn't work that way. The world responds to clear signals. And appearance is one of the strongest signals there is. The day I started aligning my image with the level of life I wanted, something changed drastically. People trusted me more, listened more, offered more. Not because I had changed inside, but because, finally, the outside matched what I'd been carrying all along. Appearance creates expectation, and expectation creates access. When you project an image aligned with ambition, organization, and presence, the world sees that you're ready for more. Ready for bigger responsibilities. Ready for better environments. Ready to be taken seriously. Women who change their destiny understand that being capable isn't enough. You have to look prepared. And that's not unfair. It's communication. It's learning to speak the silent language the world understands. Getting addicted to your own appearance is really about stopping the waste of potential due to a lack of visual positioning. Comment, I embody the image of my next level. This phrase seals your commitment to aligning who you are with what you deserve to live. Eighth principle, your appearance shapes the energy you carry and what you attract. Before someone decides whether to come closer or pull away, your energy has already answered for you. And that energy is deeply influenced by how you present yourself. Appearance isn't just visual, it's vibration. It's the sum of your posture, your care, your intention, and the respect you show yourself. I noticed this when I started paying attention to how I felt on the days I got ready with intention, even for no special reason. My energy felt different. I walked with more purpose, spoke more calmly, breathed more mindfully. And interestingly, the world responded on the same frequency. More meaningful conversations, better invitations, more aligned encounters. It wasn't a coincidence. It was energetic coherence. When you neglect yourself, your energy signals exhaustion, chaos, and a lack of direction. And life gives you exactly that in return. But when you care for yourself, even in the small details, you send out a clear signal of readiness. Money flows more easily. Opportunities come with more clarity. The right people start to show up. Women who change their destiny understand that they don't attract what they want. They attract what they vibrate. And appearance is one of the fastest ways to adjust that vibration. Not because you're trying to impress, but because you're aligning with who you've decided to become. Getting addicted to your own appearance is, deep down, getting addicted to keeping your energy high, clean, and aligned with the life you want to live. Comment, my energy attracts my next level. This sentence anchors the vibration that fuels your transformation. Ninth principle, your appearance teaches the world how to treat you. People don't decide how to treat you after getting to know you deeply. They decide in the first few seconds. And that decision is guided largely by how you present yourself. Your appearance doesn't beg for respect. It sets the level of respect that will be offered. I learned this by observing two versions of myself living the same reality. In the first, I was invisible. Not because I lacked value, but because I didn't project presence. People would interrupt, dismiss, overlook. In the second version, with the same intelligence, same values, same essence, everything changed. People listened. They waited. They considered. And none of that happened because I asked for it. It happened because I changed the standard of my image. Appearance works like a silent agreement. When you show up carelessly, the world assumes it can treat you carelessly too. When you show up with intention, clarity, and posture, the world understands there's a boundary there. And clearly set boundaries change destinies. Women who go far understand it's not about pleasing. It's about positioning. It's about silently communicating that you know who you are, what you deserve, and what you no longer accept. Getting addicted to your own appearance is, at its core, taking control of that silent agreement with the world. It's about stopping the wait for respect and starting to transmit it before you even speak. Comment, I teach the world to respect me. This phrase seals your commitment to never shrink yourself to fit into places that don't value you. 10th principle. When your appearance changes, your destiny can't stay the same. There comes a point when transformation becomes inevitable, not because you forced it, but because you aligned. When your appearance, your posture, your energy, and your identity come into coherence, your destiny is forced to respond. There's no such thing as a big life supported by a small image. There's no expansive future built from a shrunken presence. I realized this when I looked back and understood. Nothing magical had happened. What changed was how I showed up to the world every single day. I stopped dressing to survive and started dressing to sustain who I was becoming. And from that point on, everything shifted organically. Different environments began to welcome me. Different people started seeking me out. Opportunities that once felt far off began to recognize me. Appearance doesn't create talent. It doesn't create character. It doesn't create value. But it does create access. And access changes destinies. Women who transform their lives understand that changing your thoughts isn't enough. You have to change how the world sees you. And that starts every day. In the mirror. In the simple choices. In the details you choose not to neglect anymore. Getting addicted to your own appearance is really about committing to the woman you've decided to be, even when no one's watching, even when it feels like too much, even when it scares you. Because when you show up as her every day, the world has no choice but to adjust to you. Comment, I embody the woman I'm becoming. This phrase seals your decision not to go back. Changing your destiny doesn't require you to become someone else. It requires you to stop hiding. Your appearance is not vanity, it's positioning. It's language. It's visible identity. When you take care of yourself, you respect yourself. When you respect yourself, you raise your standards. And when your standards rise, your life follows. You don't need to wait for the world to validate you. Start validating yourself. Every day, in the mirror, in your choices, in how you take up space. Destiny always responds to the woman who shows up with presence. If this video resonated with you, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. I choose to show up at my next level, because the woman you see in the mirror every day is the same one shaping your future, whether you realize it or not.